not a DIY guru. Hi everybody. Today I'm going to show you how to make a frenzy ornament. Last Christmas I made about 20 of these for friends and family, and it was actually a really fun process. I thought I'd share it with you. This is what the end result will be. Can you even tell the difference between the one I made this year and last year? Because I can't. Because I'm Crazy James, and this is my only holiday tutorial I've ever shot in my life. So I hope you enjoy it. I'll try to cut it together. I've got a bit of a cold, but it's okay. We'll survive. Merry Christmas. Tutorial time, people. Okay, so the first thing that you're gonna need is some cardboard. So what you do is you'll get some poster board, and you're gonna cut it out in a triangle similar to part of the head shape of your dog. In this case, Frenzy's basically a giant triangle. So you just get some nice sharp scissors and you cut out a triangle or almost a heart shape just without that center line divot. You're also gonna need some ears for your dog. So again, everything in Frenzy land is pretty much a triangle, and you can see how this kind of plays out. We get his ears on top of his head. Frenzy also has a lot of extra fur, so he's got a lot of fur going on here, and that's where our cotton balls come into play. It's pretty easy to get the fur ready. All you need to do is get a cotton ball and start peeling some of it apart. So you can do all that in advance if you want to. The next step that you need to do is take your felt and make your dog head base. So I pretty much know how much white felt I'm gonna need because I've already cut out the top of Frenzy's head. Using this as a stencil, just snip around your piece of cardboard. Once you have your cardboard and felt base built out, you're gonna want to glue it on, or you can trim the edge just to make sure it's looking appropriate. Once you have that base sorted out, this is where you get out your white glue, and you want to use this liberally because you need to make sure this stays on effectively. If you like getting messy, you can just use your finger. That's what I'm gonna do, and I apparently just like ruining everything I own with white glue. Boom. I'm gonna do the same with Frenzy's ears. When you get your white triangle in place for your ear, make sure you give yourself a little bit of room to actually glue the ear on to the back of your wooden head or your construction paper head. It's a little bit easier to actually maneuver the pieces in place with a X-Acto knife, but for cutting felt, an X-Acto knife is pretty much useless. It's like, oh great, I'm just stretching this out really, really badly. So it's useless. The only thing that really works well is scissors. Scissors you can cut all day, no problem. So I'll let that dry for a bit and get back to you guys in a minute. So once you have your ears glued on to their backing, you need to apply some glue to that little strip that you're using to attach it to the head of the Frenzy head. So just get that stuffed in right there. It's okay if there's a little bit of excess glue. No one's grading you on this. Crafts are fun.
I am.
Anum's grading me on this. I'm just gonna let that dry facing the other way. So once you get your ears in place, then you want to cut out a couple pink triangles, and these pink triangles will become the insides of Frenzy's ears. So I'm just gluing this right on top, right there. Again, white glue does eventually dry and look translucent. So if there's a little bit of excess, that's okay. It actually might help with some steps into the future. Depending on how much cardboard you have on the backing of your ear, this might actually help add some strength between the bond of the front half and the back half of the frenzy head. So you can start to see how this frenzy is coming together. This guy's a little bit bigger ears. That's okay. Not every frenzy needs to be exactly the same. Next, you're gonna want to put on some eyes. So I'm just gonna make sure that this is sticking nicely onto my head. And that we're not stuck to the back here. No, it looks like it's all drying well. That's great.
Stick it to your head.
Stick it to your dog head.
Ah.
Keep it to your dog head. Huh. Good old yo. So now I'm gonna glue his eyes on. So again, you're gonna wanna make little felt eyes. You're gonna cut those out. This frenzy sort of looks like an alien. That's okay though. We can make it work. So the last thing that you need to glue onto his head before you start doing fur is actually his cheeks. Because every dog's got cheeks, and your frenzy needs to have cheeks too. So on the back here, you see I've got a lot of different little pieces here. After we're all done getting stuff onto the top of the face, I then glue on another piece of cardboard backing just to strengthen the actual ornament itself so it doesn't fall apart. So this is more or less dry. I can flip it onto the other side. The beauty of building a frenzy, in case you want to build your own at home, is that Frenzy has a lot of fur in his face, and you can hide any mistakes that you make with cotton balls. Cotton balls are, yeah, they should be on every craft. Just make something and make it into snow. Snow covers all problems. So, and really the goal with these cheeks is that you're going to be able to add on a little bit of extra fur. Extra fur is extra fun, as I say. So while I have Frenzy's face down, I am actually going to glue on that backing. So again, the goal with this backing is that you want to increase the structural hold that your Frenzy head has onto all of its different pieces. Once you have your ears on, you have your backing all set up, you can then start adding some of the finer details to your Frenzy. So one key piece here is Frenzy's mouth. Frenzy's mouth is a piece of black. It's actually the bridge of his nose too. You also need to cut out his nose. So again, cutting out his nose, you can't do it with X-Acto knives. That just won't work. It's like you're cutting a oval with a divot in the inside. So you go ahead and you cut your oval shape, and then you actually, on the last side, just divot in a bit and rotate your felt, and then you've got a Frenzy nose. So Frenzy's nose goes here. He's got a pretty big nose today. Maybe I'll trim that or not. Why not? Not every Frenzy is the same. This is a very angry looking Frenzy. He's not the happy-go-lucky Frenzy of his youth. So yeah, I'm gonna trim that. Yes, and he's still a little too austere. So the thing that gives him all of his emotion is the bridge of his mouth and the end of his nose. So you want to give him a bit of a smirk. So the way you give him a smirk is when you're cutting out his nose, you put one side a bit longer and give it an angle upward so it looks like he's smirking. Once you get his face organized, you can then start adding on your cotton balls. But before that, there's one last step that's important. It's you actually need to put a hole through the center of Frenzy's head. Right here, so you can actually run a piece of elastic or thread or a wire, anything, because this is a Christmas ornament, you want to hang it. So once you have the hole through your Frenzy's head, what you do is you take a piece of, I have a stretchy gold elastic here. Pick this up from Dollarama. I'm sure they have similar things at Fabricland or Michael's, basically anywhere good crafts are sold. And you just push it through his head and you tie it up. In this case, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take both knots and just do a zip that off. There we go. So with that all set, I can then start adding fur onto Frenzy's head. So again, all of the fur is cotton balls, just torn up cotton balls. And this gets tricky to work with a little bit, so you want to work with it in little strands. I'll just zoom in a bit. So since you're working with glue and your fingers can get covered in cotton balls. But that's really for the best. So the first thing I glue is actually the sides of his cheeks. Because what I do is I'll end up gluing cotton balls on top of cotton balls. And yeah, just so you know, like you're gonna want to do this somewhere that you're not gonna ruin a tablecloth or a couch. Yeah, you don't want to be getting glue everywhere. If you hear any typing in the background, Anum's doing the finishing touches on her gift guide. The next layer is just a bit on top of that, a bit below it. That's how you do his cheeks. The next piece is his ears and the top of his head. I like putting this string through first because otherwise you can really mess up the fur. The fur will get stuck in the hole, then you have to build too big a hole, then you cut right through Frenzy's head. It's not good. There you have it. You've made another Frenzy. Let's just go over the steps one more time. First, you need to cut out a piece of white cardboard as a triangle. Then you cut out some pieces for his ears, and you want to build a piece for his cheek. Out of the felt, you're going to want to take the white felt and build it for his head and his ears, and you're going to want to do pink for the centerpiece between the ear and his head. And then finally, you're going to want to make a little bit of black for his eye, and you're going to want to add his mouth in there. Glue it all together, poke a hole through his head, and then add a whole bunch of fur around his face. And you pretty much have an extra Frenzy. Hope you had as much fun with this tutorial as I did. I know you can't tell any difference between Frenzy and my ornament, but this is great. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Frenzy, get back here. Oh God.
Oh God.
Frenzy's on the table. Frenzy's on the table.